Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and collect the data for the constant velocity lab, and we're going to use our ticker timer, which has already been set up here, to create our dot model for the motion of the one vehicle that we've looked at so far this year that actually should be able to produce constant speed or constant velocity. So we want to see in a graph, what does constant speed look like, and we want to see real data. We don't want book data, we don't want made up problems. We want to see actual data that was collected using a machine that was capable of recording very precise measurements. So the car is already taped to the bottom of the piece of paper. The piece of paper is hanging over here on the side. So once I turn the timer on and turn the car on, you'll see the paper is going to get pulled through by the car, and the ticker timer will be creating that dot model of the motion of this guy. And here's what it looks like. Okay, let me turn everything off. All right, and I'm going to allow you guys to come over here so you can see the data a little bit more clearly. I'll move just a little bit. Okay, so here is the beginning of our data. I'll go ahead and put it down right here. And so we are going to avoid the very beginning, because let's look at what happened in the beginning. So what the dot model is showing is that the vehicle is traveling faster and faster. I can see the spacing is getting a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. So in the beginning, they're very close. Here I can see they're a little farther apart. Now we don't want to get anywhere near the acceleration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move way down here. I'm going to move down about 20 or 30 dots. Okay, by this point, the vehicle should have been traveling at a constant velocity. So I'm going to go ahead and label this dot right here as my 0.00 seconds. Okay, now here's what we're going to do. We're going to collect just a little bit of data from this piece of paper, and we're going to take advantage of the natural way that the ticker timer works. So the way it works is the little dots are made every 1/60th of a second. So if we were to collect together, let's say 6 of these dots, that would be 6/60ths of a second, and 6/60ths is 1/10. So if I count every 6 dots, I can put a marker and say that's 1/10 of a second. And so I'll put, on the next one, I'll put 0.1, then 0.2, and 0.3, and so on, as we follow the motion of this vehicle moving along on this piece of paper. So let me go ahead and count this for you. One mistake that students oftentimes make when they're setting this thing up is that they count this as 1. This isn't 1, this is 0, and now I'm going to start counting every 6 dot. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know that one's a little tough to see, but there's a dot right there. That is 0.10 seconds. I'm going to keep counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one's a little easier to see. That is 0.20 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little faint. 0.30 seconds. Continuing on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be 0.4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 0.50 seconds. And we'll do one more just to make sure we have enough data to see everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That guy's a little on the faint side. I'll color that one in so you can see it a little bit more clearly. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get rid of the part of the paper that we don't need. So if you just give me a second, I'm going to get rid of all the parts that we're not going to use. And one thing that's going to make this much easier for us to measure is I'm going to tape it to the table. And that's going to hold it down so it'll be easier for you to read the ruler. All right, so we're going to put a ruler down there, and what we're trying to make a graph of is the total distance. So I can always measure from my 0 point. So I want to know, what is this distance? What's this distance? What's this distance? It's always the total distance. I'm not going to measure the distance in each interval. That's not going to be very helpful for me right now. What I want is the total. How far from the beginning had it traveled at 0.1 second, at 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, and 0.6. I'm going to help you out with the first measurement. I know some of them are a little tough to read. Let me help you out just a little bit by just darkening in a couple of the dots that were a little bit on the faint side. That guy's a little faint. That guy is faint. That guy. And the other two look pretty good. Let me just darken that one in just a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put the ruler on the 0. And let me see if I can get that guy lined up. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to try and help you with reading these first couple of numbers, and then we're going to let you make the rest of the measurements. And you just pause the video in order to make your measurements. So look, I have the 0. Let me just make sure this is lined up really well. Okay, so I have my 0 seconds lined up with my 0 on my ruler, and now I'm looking at that first dot. And so what I need you to do is not only read the 3, but also read the line here, and then I want one more digit. So take a look at where this guy is. It looks to me like this is 3 point, and then it's very close to that first line. So what I have to judge right now, is it on that line or a little bit before the line? What do you think, Jake? Is it before the line or after the line?
Looks like a little bit before.
Before. So then that would be not 3.1, it would be 3.0, and then we got to come up with a number. I think it's really close to the line. I'm going to say it's 3.08. So I'm going to say that last digit is an 8. Remember, that's measuring with precision. I'm going to read off that last digit. Okay, so our first measurement is 3.08. Here we go on to the second measurement. So now we're at 0.2 seconds. So it looks like it is between the 6.4 and the 6.5, and it looks like it's, I'm going to say it's slightly closer to the 6.4. So I'm going to say this is 6.4, and I'm going to say that that next number is a 3, 6.43. Okay, so those are your first two numbers. Now the next 4 measurements are on you. We're going to pause at each of the time markers, give you a time to pause the video, and you go ahead and record your measurement. So here we go to 0.3 seconds. So we want to record that guy. That guy must be 9 something. Then we'll go on to 0.4 seconds. Looks like this dot is somewhere in the slightly over 13. I made a little mark right there so you can see it more clearly. A little bit more than 13, so I'll give you a second to record that measurement. We'll go to 0.5 seconds. Looks like it's around 16 something, but what are those next 2 digits? Record that as precisely as you can. There's the dot that you're recording to. And then finally, we have the last measurement at 0.6 seconds. This guy looks like it's a little bit less than 20, so it's about 19 something. So take a second to see what that measurement is and record it in your table. All right, I think that's good. So that's the data. And I'm going to trim off this part of the video. I'm going to just let it end right there. And that's, the teacher's,